Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Mind What Matters, where we try our best to mind what matters.
Well, that's good. I like that. That's
Yeah, we
that's a
try our
new one.
best.
That we try our best. Yeah.
Listen,
It's
that's
it's
all I
all
can
things
hope for.
caregiving and sometimes minding what matters.
I know. How are you today, Liz? How are you
I'm
doing?
I'm pretty great actually. I feel like I have run a marathon by having a senior graduating, and like he
Mm,
literally just took his last test, and I think he has one more AP exam tomorrow, but he took like his last regular exam today.
yeah.
And he wore his uniform for the last time a few days ago. And it's
Oh,
like, I've come through the fire of all these lasts, like senior chapel and, all the random things. And I was at school for our youngest, the lower school performance or whatever, and they do it
yeah.
twice. So the principal's like, everybody hang out if you want to watch it again, whatever, that's up to you. And Hunter was having field day, or the equivalent of field day. They call it May Day for the upper school. And I looked at Hunter and I was like, how about we walk up there and just, peek at Hunter having May Day? And he's like, I don't think he's going to want you to walk up there, Liz. And I was like, yeah, we're going to walk up there. So we go up there, and like they're all on the football field and they have the bounce houses, and I think they're doing a tug of war or something. And one of his cute little
Oh,
girlfriends like starts waving at me and it's like, hi, Miss Humphreys. And next thing I know, one of them went and got Hunter and told him that I was there. And next thing you know, he comes walking around and I'm looking at Hunter, I'm like, oh, he's coming to say hi.
oh
And he comes
God.
walking straight up to us and he goes, hi, what are you doing here? And I was like, I just thought we would come to say hi. We're here for Gaines's play. And he's like, Mom, this is for students only. And I got it. In that moment, I was like, okay, this is what it is. Like in the most
Oh.
direct way possible, my kid told me that it was time for me to move on and like move out of the way. And so it's sort of, in a really good way, it's kind of transformed the tears into like, all right, this is cool. Like I've cried all year off and on, but like we're moving into a new phase and it's going to be all right. And I'm here for it. I'm like getting excited now. So I'm good.
Listen,
How are you?
I actually want to speak to that because there's so many moms, whether it's on our campus or that I'm, interacting with, that all have seniors that are leaving the nest. And, Hudson, my oldest, my 12-year-old is moving into 7th grade. So that's middle school on our campus, which is a K through 12. So it's literally still the same campus. He's just going to 7th grade, but he's not going to be in that elementary chapel every day. And I go to chapel every morning. I walk them. I mean, I still have my little one. I still have Benny. But like, I'm having feelings. Also, I'm a deeply sensitive, empathetic, compassionate, existential crisis human. I've been that way since I was born.
Are you
So,
sure?
and so I think those of us who live in an existential crisis, we really know how to do grief. We recognize it. We know how to do it very well. We know how to be inside of it, because we've been living in grief in some form, since we were children, of like laying on the trampoline, looking up at the sky and being like, I'll never be 10 again. I'll
Yes.
never be 10
Yes.
again.
Yes.
Like that was me. That was me. I'll never have this day again. I'll
Yeah.
never have this. So I feel like it's prepared me. But I just did want to send so much love to all the moms out there, especially coming off the heels of Mother's Day. I was reading something that somebody posted, and I will repost it because it was the most honest, brutal reflection of motherhood, which is basically, you grow these children in your body, and even if you don't, you still have the same connection,
Mhm.
and you give your life, right, to them, and making sure that they're healthy and they're safe, and growing them and holding their hand. And I have 100 pictures of just me holding my children's hands, just the hands as they've grown through the
Mhm.
years. And then one day they just let go, and like it's making me emotional for you.
And they
all
tell
the
you to
moms.
leave.
And they tell you to leave, and I'm just like, like I feel like
It's heavy.
we talk about caregiving so much, moms, when like it give care to yourself so much during this time as you're walking through it, because it is a grief. It's a deep, deep grief of like, all the questions and the fear. Are they going to be okay? What's going to happen? Are they going to call me? Like a piece of your heart, somebody just chopped it out
Okay.
and it's
All
going to
right.
walk away.
Remember when
So,
I
like,
said I was doing well?
I
Like, suck it,
know.
Deloach. You're
Yeah.
totally sucking me back into it.
I'm sorry, but
God.
I'm so glad you're doing okay. Everybody get to where Liz is. But like, I just want to say shout out to every single mom, all of you I've had conversations with, all of you I haven't had conversations with, to like, you know, wherever you're in all of this, like, just give yourself so much grace and understand that it is hard. And also, like you said, it is going to be okay. It is.
Yeah, it is.
You did your job. You did your job. This is the job, and it is going to be okay. And I'll stop talking because we need to save as much time as possible to
About
talk
to
about
say.
our
Yep.
guest today, because she is one of the most impressive humans we have had on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yep.
Holy
Which is
cow.
that's saying something, guys. This is like 2 weeks in a row we've like really shocked you with people that are a lot smarter and more accomplished than us. Well, I mean that's not hard to do, but
so
like
much smarter. I mean, when
she's really
Yeah.
smart.
She's really, really, like, really smart. There's nothing more I
for
love.
real, you guys. Like so smart, okay? Like for real. I mean, y'all aren't gonna be able to believe it.
Yes.
Could we make ourselves sound any more stupid right now? Like, okay,
Yes,
stop
we
talking.
actually could.
Let me introduce the
Yes, please introduce her and let's start talking to her.
Yes, we actually could. That's my favorite right there. Well, guys, first off, she is an impressive human being, but also you all know from listening to me and Nikki for years now that like probably what lights our fire more than anything else is purpose from pain and people who actually walk the walk and don't just talk the talk. And it is one thing to sit around and complain about things and say, this is a problem and blah, blah, blah. And like, it's never going to get solved. And honestly, running a nonprofit, like I've been
It's
there
hard.
myself and been like, you know, I'm just stuck in the mud and like, ugh, how is this ever going to change and whatever. Y'all, this person is not only transforming the way we look at diseases like ALS and Alzheimer's now also, but she is actually part of the problem solving for how we are going to get to a cure faster. I'm going to read her bio and then we're going to invite her in. But you guys, she's just amazing. Like, I don't think I've ever known somebody to be so like, you're not going to tell me no, other than maybe you, DeLoach. Okay. Indu Navar is our guest today. She is a seasoned entrepreneur, CEO, and investor, and founded the Peter Cohen Foundation, operating as EverythingALS.org, a nonprofit fostering collaboration among ALS patients, researchers, and providers, and now Alzheimer's, guys. With 20 years of experience in software companies, she led successful exits and M&A activities. As a former managing director at Woodside Capital Partners, Indu advised software firms on financing and M&A. She previously was CEO and founder of Ceres Corporation, acquired by E2 Open, and contributed to WebMD and Silicon Graphics. Her career began at NASA. I'll say that again, NASA. Indu holds a BS in electrical engineering. We just hold a BS, Deloach, in electrical engineering and an MS in computer science, and pursues a PhD in neuroscience, which, oh, by the way, she just decided to do because she's now in this field. Welcome, Indu. We are so happy you're here.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you so
happy
much
to
for
have
having
you.
me. I did hear your conversation about children, and
Yep.
I just wanted to know I'm a mom for a 25-year-old, and this is a process they come back. So if you have anything, yes, the umbilical cord cutting, it happens. They want to cut the umbilical cord, but now they come back on their own choice. So I just want to report back to you what happens in the future.
I mean, we can only hope, right? I mean, that's like the end game is you raise these little humans and you hope that there's somebody you want to spend time with one day if you do your job right. And then sadly, they become your favorite person. And I think that's why it hurts so bad
Totally.
when they leave. But you're right. You know, the end game here is that they come back and they're wonderful adults and they go on and they do incredible things in the world like you are doing.
Yes.
And I just want us to jump right in. So
Yes.
guys, for all of you who are listening, Indu's husband was diagnosed with ALS when he was very young, right? Like late 40s, kind of the
Yes.
prime of y'all's life.
Yes.
You'd both
So
been
hard.
huge in, you know, the biotech world. You're in Silicon Valley. You with the startup of WebMD. Your husband was at Amazon. Like this was the prime of your life and
Correct.
ALS hits. Will you tell us just a little bit about, we don't have to stay in the personal too long because you have so much just that's important that you need our caregivers to hear. But like, I really
Mhm.
would love whatever you're comfortable with, Indu, just talking about his
Yeah,
journey, how he
absolutely.
was diagnosed and the symptoms he started having. Do you mind?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm like, I'm a technologist. I didn't go choose medicine because I said, who wants to work on people? I want to work on machines and I want to make things better in terms of get the machines to, do the work. And I loved, building the companies. And I think one of the things in tech entrepreneurship is we have done something and we've seen the results of it, right? I have transformed the way manufacturing is done. And my husband built Amazon Cloud, Mechanical Turk. He started in 96, 97 in Amazon. And by 2014, when he and I decided we'll start a company together after I had my exit, he stepped down and we started investing, advising. Like you said, we thought it was in the prime of our life because we had done a lot of things. We said, how are we going to now advise and invest and make other entrepreneurs successful or other companies successful? And that was our journey, and we worked together for a good 4 years. But you know we were spending 24 hours together, and so I could see that when he first said, something is wrong with my ankle. it's
Mm.
it's um and I felt like I was going through the disease because I was in every appointment, every, minutia of, I don't know. This is weird for me now, right? Because we were really best friends. We are best friends. We are, we spent all this time. I used to tell him, are you sure we can start a company? People say that, we lose connection. He's like, no, not for us, which is true that, we actually bonded a lot more. And, it was horrendous. Like, for 2 years, we went to the neurologist very, very early. Of course, we go through, when something is wrong, you go to your primary care or chiropractor, acupuncturist, you just do your own stuff. And we went to the neurologist. We at that time we have two homes, one in Seattle and one in Palo Alto, Los Altos. So we were in Los Altos. So we went to Stanford, and the answer was, you'll be okay. Let's just wait and see.
Hmm.
We celebrated, right? We celebrated because he was having symptoms. So we were like, oh my God, what could be wrong? And then it was still getting worse. That
Mm.
is, his walking is getting worse. And, we go back, we do some more tests. We'll come back after 3, 4 months. We'll see where you are. And I'm going, what are we trying to do here? This
Hmm.
seems to me like your kitchen is under fire. Oh, let's just wait and see if it's going to go away or if it's going to burn down the house. You know what? When we know it's burning down the house, only then we'll call Mayday. We'll just wait. It's just a little spark. It's just a kitchen, under fire. This is what was happening.
Yeah.
So we were not putting out anything. I understand we don't have treatments, but if this is the attitude, how are we ever going to come up with the treatment? We have
Hmm.
something called diagnosis fatigue. You just
Hmm.
can't keep going to the doctors because
Right.
the physicians don't understand that you are going through this
Yeah.
every day, every minute. It's not that only when I'm in front of you for that 20, 30 minutes and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to forget about it.
No,
No,
no.
this is going to get worse and worse. You saying you don't know only gets worse in my mind.
Yeah.
So people didn't understand that, really. That's what I realized afterwards. So anyway, we went through this, what we call diagnosis of elimination. So that means you do all
Hmm.
kinds of tests. Oh, it's not brain tumor, it's not thyroid, it's not, all these things. And then it was like, let's wait and see. We went to Mayo, and that's where we got diagnosed. It took us almost 24 months, and
It's
then
unacceptable. It's just
it's
unacceptable.
unacceptable. You know what?
And
When you
by
love,
that point, you're too late for clinical trials, right? Because with ALS,
that's
you
what
can't
it
even get into
was,
the
Liz.
trials.
It was like,
Hmm.
oh, wait, most of the trials want 16 months from the time you have
Hmm.
your symptoms, but you just crossed that. I'm like, but nobody told me this. Nobody told us
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And so you're telling me that you might have a ray of hope of him. Think about it. I just really felt, you're in court in this movie. All rise. We're gonna
Mm.
we're gonna read your, sentence.
Mhm.
Okay, we come there, we sit there, we're going to read your sentence. You have a death sentence. You have only 2 to 5 years to live from the time you started your symptom. Wait, wait, wait. Your symptom started almost 2 years ago. Yeah, that means you're going to die anytime, right? You just have to wait. It could be anywhere from and the worst part of it is, I know I'm going to talk about Alzheimer's today a lot more, but this is what got me is that we are hearing this for last 100 years.
Yes.
Mhm.
Every 90 minutes, somebody's getting diagnosed and they're hearing that you have a 2 to 5 years to live and nothing has changed
Nothing.
in 100 years.
Everything's
So,
changed except for that, you know?
exactly.
There's
So
nothing
tell
that's
me
the
what
same.
hasn't changed in your life, I mean, like, so anyway, we did get him into the trial. And in the trial, a lot of it is you have to go to the facilities in Mayo.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
around the year, we had to go. So I said, why are we coming here again? Oh, well, we need to do your breath test. We need to do your cognitive test. I'm like, but I can get it done remotely.
Mhm.
Why don't we use remote? I come from technology. Remember, we have changed the way manufacturing is done. Now you can get your cell phone new versions because all these manufacturing software we built is like how to get your products to market fast, right? And Amazon, like you can put anything, all of your, everything we're recording right now is going to Amazon cloud or some cloud that Peter invented. So I'm going, how can you say that I have to come here? You're telling me there is no way to do it remotely? Come on. We're not living in some Timbuktu island. We live in
Right.
Seattle. We live in the Bay Area. And no, no, no. It's for methodology of trials. I said, who
Mhm.
designs this methodology of trials? Do they even understand what people with the disease go through?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously not. So anyway, there were some errors that I caught as they were collecting it, and I made it a big deal. I said, so you tell me that you want accuracy of data? Doing manually is not accuracy. It's
Mhm.
automating it. I come from that world. Anyway, so he passed away in 2019.
Mm.
But you know what? Did we do everything possible to save him? No. The world let him down. That's how I
Mm.
carry it. Because he
Mhm.
did his job as a human being. He was a very productive human being. He actually, in the short 50 years of his life, he built, if you talk to Amazon, Andy Jassy, who's now the CEO, he'll say there would be no Amazon cloud without Peter. He was the first person who said, I'm interested in this. Let's go build this. He wrote the first document on it. He's the most brilliant person because he could see what 20 years from now would look like. He's one of those very unique people. He did his job as a human being, contributing. He gave more than he took.
Hmm.
But I did feel like we let him down. I understand we don't have treatment, but how we treat the diagnosis fatigue, putting him in the right ray of hope in the trial. So I was in the crossroads of 2019, said, here I am. I lost my best friend, the love of my life,
Mm.
and I saw him go through this. And I know what he was going through in his head. He would tell me, honey, if I knew this problem existed, I would spend rest of my life fixing it because
Mhm.
I did not know this problem exists. Because I realized we don't know until we are there.
Mhm.
This whole
Yeah.
veil opens up. We live in a different world. I didn't get my package, so I'm really upset. Or
Mhm.
I want to, you know, post something on my Instagram. Great. We live in a very different world. But when you get the disease, you go back in caveman's world. This
Mhm.
wave, this whale opens up and you're like, can I get some electricity, please? They're
Mhm.
like, oh, here's the firewood and matches. And you're like, is there electricity? They go, what are you talking about? You
Mhm.
got your firewood and matches. You got enough light. Isn't that enough? That's how I felt. I felt
Yeah.
like so backward and they taking me backward. And I was like, coming from the world of we're innovating new things, and where is all that innovation going? It should be in health because that's
Mhm.
where it matters. One day, we're going to walk through this cave called health,
Mhm.
and there's nothing. I mean, we use technology in healthcare to automate what we're doing manually. That's not technology. It's opening up things and taking new possibilities, right? That's what we use technology for. Today we have automated cars. I bought my Tesla in 2014 when it first came out. And today we have a fully automated car, right? In 12 years. And where are we in healthcare? So we need to be innovating. We need to be pushing the boundaries. So that's why I started this in my Crossroad. When I was 2019, Crossroad, I said, I need to do it. I need to hold this torch forward for Peter because I don't want him to die. I don't want his death means one more person to the death. I don't want to put a number to his, one more plus one, gone. No, I want him to change the whole dynamic. That's my sole purpose. My energy comes from that pain of losing my best friend and the love of my life, because I don't want this to happen to anyone else.
When I was listening to you on your, I actually did a little research on you after we talked the first time, especially considering, how much information I'm about to share with you just personally through the nonprofit. And I heard you on a podcast, and I think one of the ways you said it, you were talking about the fact that, we have to focus on care of the patient if we ever expect to find a cure. And I want you to talk about that in a second. But moreover, you really stress the importance of how sad it is for ALS patients, especially because they miss these windows for clinical trials. And we miss the ability to, have science interact with these families because, number one, the stage is so short that they even can travel and get to a lot of these places. And as you mentioned, I think on this podcast I was listening to, most Americans live at least 100 miles from like a neurologist or a neuroscience center, which makes the travel especially difficult. But you said what these clinical trials do is without them, you're just a hanging rope.
Correct.
Do you remember saying this on the podcast? And you were like,
Yes.
if you
Yes.
are in a trial, it spoke to me at my depth, because with Alzheimer's, the clinical trials are just not great, but it is something. And you're like, who cares? If we're swinging from side to side, who knows? We might fall in and, get nowhere and get hurt, but we might make it to the other side.
Yep.
And just that ability to have and maintain some hope, that's what makes these clinicals so
Correct.
worth it. And
Correct.
providing care for the patient while they're sick, it needs to be better. And essentially that's what everything ALS does, right?
Correct. Yes.
I
Yes.
have a
And now everythingad.org. Yes. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, we're going to get to both. Nikki wants to ask you a question, I can
I
tell.
have yeah, no, I just have a follow-up to what you said about the disconnect in healthcare. You were like, we have cars that drive themselves, but healthcare is, they're not moving at that pace, right? And that's true. Silicon Valley has a reputation for moving fast and breaking things. There's good things about Silicon Valley. I feel there's also negative things about what's happening in tech, especially as a mom. But healthcare is slow, it's deliberate, it's bureaucratic in a lot of ways. That friction, right? How do you think, number one, what is that disconnect in terms of
Absolutely.
healthcare
Mhm.
and essentially the friction? Like, what has it taught you? How do we get people to understand? Because I work at a children's hospital. I've worked very heavily for 12 years in Alzheimer's and dementia. How do we get people to understand that healthcare is where we all should be investing, because not one single person is going to get out of this without being touched by
Yep.
some kind of illness, whether that is ALS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer,
MS.
MS. I'm dealing with my own health thing right now, just getting an appointment, and I am deeply connected in the medical field. So and I'm waiting months for an appointment. Number one, how do we get people to prioritize? And number two, do you think actually that healthcare, the slow, deliberate, bureaucratic version of that, which is very purposeful, we have to get it right. How do you think we move that needle along when we are dealing with people's lives?
Yeah. Very, very good point. And, technology is just a tool. You can
Yeah.
use it to destroy or you can use it to build.
Correct.
And I use it to build.
Yes.
That's why we say this is AI for good. if you saw Wall Street Journal covered it, like, we are AI for good. Because we also, this is the story that you need to bring out. Sometimes in our stories, devastation gets attention. So we overemphasize on that. I'm not saying that's not important, but also we need to emphasize what is that we can do with this technology. AI is really, that's what we use, machine learning and AI, to do deep discoveries, do deep discovery of why John is different than Kathy. Both of them have ALS. Both of them are progressing very differently. Both of them, one of them has speech, the other one has a limb. What is that they're different? Other than what I see. Of course, anybody can say that they have limb, they have, bulbar. That's kind of technical word. Deep down, what is their progression different? So that's what AI can do. Massive amount of data, and can give us insight into, I can feed thousands of people data and say, okay, now tell me how many different varieties are there. Okay, there's only 5 types. Okay. Now
Yeah.
tell me within the 5 types, what are the variations? So now I can get to questioning at very high level. So technology is very, like I said, it's a tool. You can use it to, same tool, you can use it to, how do I market it to your kids and make more money? Right? So I'm not using for that. We're going to use it for really build things. And we're going to build our own technology. I have patents in different AI algorithms that we're coming up with because we want to make sure people don't misuse that technology. So we are coming up with our patent as a protection to people doing the right thing. So my goal is to make sure any technology that I have used in my life is to do the good thing.
Love. Yeah, and listen, I'm on the research and innovation committee at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. I see what these doctors are doing with our AI systems, and you're right, with any kind of innovation you can use it for good or you can use it for harm, for sure. And I just wanted to, like, for people listening that are a little troubled or concerned right
Yeah.
now, I wanted to talk about that. But then also, how do we get people to care more about healthcare specifically
Yeah.
and understand that this is where we should be, not pulling
Yeah.
back on funds
So
as we did last year with legislation, but instead putting so much more into it so people like you and others around our country can really innovate in a way that makes a diagnosis so much faster, that
yeah,
makes a cure so much more possible. How do we get people to care?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I heard
No,
you say on your podcast, you either have to have fear or greed, one
yeah,
of the two. And I
Ooh,
have to
wow.
say, we talked about this a little bit on the phone when we spoke, but like, I'm just
Wow.
trying to get like other caregivers and nonprofits out there to just go to town halls across the country, raise their hands, be like, what are you doing about the care crisis? No one no one is trying to help me with this. They're all telling me the same thing. It's too hard. We don't have the funds for that. We don't have the backing for that. You'll never get that done. You'll never move the needle. Like, I've been told no so many times. It
Yeah.
is unnerving. And yet the caregivers, the people we've given grants to and who've applied, are the ones who are like, we'll go, we'll do it. And we don't care if, you think nothing's going to happen. But like, that's the thing. You either have the fear because it's happened to you and you're in it, or somehow, some way you're greedy. You think getting the answer is going to propel you forward and that you're going to be on top of the
yeah,
next guy because you found the answer. And
yeah,
Wow.
unfortunately, those are the two reasons why we will get there, why innovation happens. And I heard you say it and I was like, damn, she hit the nail on the head. But like, what you're doing is it's neither. You're not greedy and you're not working out of fear. You're just trying to officiate. Is that a word? Who's going to tell me if it's
yeah.
not?
Yes, it
You're
is.
trying to make the process more simplistic. You're like,
So
hey, biotech, you can't talk to, not biotech, but pharma companies, you guys can't talk to the caregivers and the patients. So we'll do the talking for you. Cuts out the middleman. All the waste is gone. Time is saved. Like, please spend some time just talking us a little bit about your strategy there because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
brilliant.
No, I mean, you either have a purpose. When you have a purpose, you don't need any of those things because your purpose
Mm,
drives you as a fuel.
yeah.
I'm talking about, people who are in the way, but we need their buy-in. So what will make them drive this, right? What is the value proposition? And usually in the value proposition, we all know that three things that sell, greed, fear, and novelty. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to be associated with, those are the three things. People want to get association, or, that's again, and then, or people are afraid something is going to happen, or people are like, oh my God, I'm going to win, right? So in the psychology of why people make certain decisions, that's what it is. I'm purpose driven. I found my purpose. I'm not going to let anything come between me and what I want to get done, right? And then I have to use different ways to get people to move out of my way. And so we can actually connect. And Nikki had a question on how do we solve this? This is a system problem. This is not a point problem. And also, you can't use AI to say, I'm going to build an AI in the doctor's office so AI can talk to the people. No, that is not a good thing. AI could be a supporting function, but you cannot lose your humanness. The human connection, you can never replace that. So we have to become better humans because we have more tools to do our everyday, stuff, so we don't get bogged down. So that's kind of what we do is like, we're scoring certain things, or we're doing manual thing. Okay, let's automate that so we can spend more time with people and connecting with people, understanding people. So, this is a system problem. When I first started saying, okay, I will do this, where do I start? I'm not from this field, although I was on the founding team of what today is WebMD. It was called Healthy On. I was kind of a dumb engineer who said, how hard is it? I'm going to go in, join this, and
Not
we're going
dumb.
to
Not
automate.
No, we don't get to use that word
Dumb
with
in
you.
the sense that I did not understand the complexity of the vertical called healthcare. It's like, we'll take all their health records, we'll automate it, and oh my God, there is so much. People talk about compliance as though it's God's rules. People, we put the compliance because we thought it's going to help us. If it's not helping us, we need to change it. You can't say this is God sent compliance and no matter what, we're going to come on, use common sense.
Right.
So, and now we're taking the good out of the compliance and healthcare. There's no health in the healthcare anymore. Nobody cares about the health. They all care about liability. They care about which lawyer, is going to say no, who's going to get sued. Nobody cares about the patient. Where's the patient in healthcare? Everybody's worried about, their compliance and HIPAA and their data and the protection. People don't care about those things. I'm like, just fix me.
I know.
Just give me a drug so we don't have to die. If you want to take my data so you can innovate, do it. Oh no, so we spend so much time. We've taken the good out of the system, and we act like this whole compliance thing is something, like I said, it's written somewhere, and we have to be like mad people just following something that's so stupid. It doesn't even make sense. It was written 50 years ago, people. There's nothing we've done, come ask questions. Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yes.
Right? I mean, we just don't ask in healthcare.
Yeah.
I have no idea
You just
why.
do what you're told.
Some of
it's
us
like a
do.
system.
Some of us do.
No, I'm
some of
just
us are
saying
the
that-
squeaky wheels, but I would say like the majority of people go in and they hear, oh, let's wait and let's just see, and then they leave because a person of authority who's supposed to know better than you just told you to go home. And it's like, we're not taught to question authority in this country. We are not taught to critically think anymore. In fact, most professors are saying it's the one thing that is missing the most from our education system. And it's insidious that we are not taught to critically think anymore and to go, but why? And
that's why I love kids, Kids are always asking why.
They're always
why should I do
asking
this?
why.
Why should I do that? Like
they
somewhere
are
along the
yes.
line, we just put them in the path of you will be punished if you ask why.
But our
and
greatest
actually, wait,
yeah.
and Nikki, do you want to speak to that on my behalf? I probably shouldn't, but like that is exactly what happens sometimes when you say why, is you are punished.
You are
I mean,
punished, for sure.
literally
The
punished.
system
I mean,
punishes
I cannot
everywhere,
tell
you know.
you the amount of round robins I did with my mom's health team, who literally basically probably thought I was nuts. Turned out to be the other way around, but like it was essentially like being told, I know that you think the sky's blue today, but unfortunately today it's green and you're the crazy one for seeing it's blue, and please just step aside. I mean, over and over and over again in the last year of my mom's life. And you were made to feel almost like if you press against the system, there's something wrong with you.
Mhm.
Like you better back off, or I don't
Yeah.
know, like
And also,
we
there is a lot of stress in the healthcare system, right? There is
Yes.
20 minutes, 30 minutes. You have to move from one place to another. And, people don't have the one off. And there's some
mm-hmm,
great humans there. When they talk to me about what they do, I said, how do you do it? They're like, well, I connect at the human level. I
mm-hmm,
see people. I see the light. I see the thing. And when I do that,
Mm.
nothing else matters. Of course, I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be, but I don't have to act like that is what is ruling me, right? But I
mm-hmm,
think that takes evolving as a human being
Mm.
and not leading. I mean, I don't want to put anybody down. We all are humans in the end. I respect every human being because everybody brings in a
Yes.
lot of light, but we need to stop thinking like we're leading a rat's life, right? We go into
Yeah.
that thing,
Yes.
just don't
over
ask.
and over
Anyway,
and
going
over.
back to, the topic.
Yeah.
And the goal is this is a system problem. And the way that I wanted to solve it was what I saw was patients go to the medical system to talk to. So head back. There are two people who matter really in this equation, whether you like it or not: people who make the drugs, people who need the drugs. I
Mm-hmm.
meant to say to solve the cure the disease. So people who have the disease, people who are curing the disease. Everybody else has to help bring the system up. So today we have patients. They're on an island. I felt like we were on an island. We were on an island. We were such a contributing people in technology. We're very smart people. Once he was a patient, I felt we were on the receiving end. I will tell you, this is what you can do. Wait, I want partnership. I want
Mm.
co-creation model. I want to co-create with you. Where are the co-create? How do I get to other people like me? Institutions, the doctor's office are not going to say, oh, Nikki, I've got 5 more people just like you. Let me introduce. You can't do that.
HIPAA.
So I don't know how to connect with people just like me who are going through. And collectively, I can say, you know what? We figured out something we can do to the system. Let's go change this, people. There's nothing like that. There's no agility. There's no feedback. Patients are in the outside and things are changing in patients' life because we use technology now. We are using automated, whatever we're doing, as everything changing, that is not percolating inside, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what patients are leading, what patients' lives are, how we suffer, what we suffer with, it's not really making it to the drug makers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Drug makers only hear from the physicians, from the institutions, or from publications. That's old. We're moving fast. We want to know, things are happening and we want to be in the know. If somebody sent something, you bought something, a package. Think about the days when we used to go to catalog and buy it and we had no idea when it's going to come. And when it shows up, it'll show up. We don't live in that world. We live in the world of, I'm going to click. Oh, I want it today. I already know before I buy it when it's going to come.
Mm.
If it doesn't come on time, I'm not going to click on that because I'm going to go and get something else because this is urgent. I want it today or I want it tomorrow. So our lives have changed. Our expectations have changed, but the
Mm-hmm.
healthcare system have not been able to mold that, and they're not hearing us. They're not hearing the patients. They're not hearing what's going on in our lives because this is an age-old system, and the drug makers only hear it from the institutions. And the institutions, like we said, neurology, I'll come back to brain diseases, why I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel when I came here. And I said, how are we going to solve this? There's a big bottleneck here. The drug makers have no idea what I'm going through. They don't even know I exist. Think about people don't even know who their customers are. They don't even know you exist. And they're making something without knowing what is really critical for you. They're hearing from the institutions, neurologists, or publications. Don't you want to talk to the customers directly? Because they are the ones. In which industry do we actually innovate something without talking to the customers?
Gosh, that's
Health.
such a good point.
Yeah.
Health. And I said, I need to change this. Okay, how do I change it? It's a care to cure. We have the power. First of all, we have the power. We're not victims. As patients, the crowd, if you all come together, we have the power. Nobody can dismantle. Alone, we might not be powerful. Alone, you're going to hear, go away, fit into the system. No. Together, we say, this is the system. Sorry, that is not going to work because we are bringing the drug makers directly to work with us. I tell them, what data do you need? I'll give you what you need, but come up with the drug that we need as fast as you can. I'm not saying we need the neurologist, we need the physician. They all work with us, not as middlemen. They work with us to accelerate this platform, which is called citizen-driven research with open innovation. So the citizens, we are driving it. We work with the drug makers, and then the neurologists are wisdom. Without them, we won't know a lot of the things that what's important. They come in and advise on the wisdom, but they can't be the only source of information. So that's what we have changed. The source of information comes directly from the patients.
This is blowing my mind because in so many ways besides just this issue, Indu, because I've been saying for years that all of our systems and institutions have let us down, right? They're not doing their jobs. And it's so deeply disappointing when you're looking and saying it's not working, but people still want to go, yeah, but we want to do it the same way we've been doing it.
Right.
But then at the same time, not allow somebody to come in with an innovative, more efficient, more effective way to do things because they want to have, I don't know if it's control. I don't know if it's what that is in their minds that make them resistant to this. But what you're doing is you're changing the system.
Yeah.
In this way to make it more efficient and more effective for families, for patients, for those that it actually impacts the most. It's brilliant.
In the land of innovation, right? You can push it, push the system, push the system. The pendulum is going to break at some point. This is the moment we break it intentionally with citizens, with we the people who have been affected take charge. And now we have technology. We can do the privacy, compliance, GDP. I mean, I'm a principal investigator. Come on, people, it's fine. I'm getting my doctorate. I will have my PhD. It's okay. You don't have to gawk at me. I will be very much in the system. But you know what? I'm going to change the system because people have to be empowered. People have to make a decision about how the clinical trials are going to be run. Because I'm going to say, I had one of the drug company who said, I want you to work with me, but this data that you're going to help me collect is going to be only mine. I said, shame on you. First of all, the data is people's data because they are going through the disease and they're giving their time. Time is something we don't have.
Yes.
And if they are giving the time, it's the highest regard, highest currency, anything among anything, because without data, we can't do anything, first of all. You need the patients because you need their data to understand how to come up with the disease, curing the disease. And then you say that you are going to hold that in your vault. First of all, do you have a magic wand that you can actually cure the disease? No, then how dare you even say that data belongs to you and you're going to
Mm,
put it in your vault? That's what we do. A lot of the times when you go into this research, they hold hostage. Your data is not shared.
yeah,
They take your data and they think data is a way to control IP. It's wrong.
it is control.
Yeah, it's control. Data is not the way you control. You control by speed. You control
Mm,
by innovation because I'll give you all the data and myself too. If I'm going to discover something, it's my patent. If you discover something, it's yours. But motivate them by speed, right?
mm.
Not by saying, I'm going to jail you so I can actually keep you hostage. That is not innovation. So we change the paradigm. I'm not going to give you data if you're not sharing. Sorry. It has to go to open. It has to be open and it needs to be shared because everybody should be learning, right? Whatever I go through, if 1 million people are going to know about this disease or one person, the difference is huge. And what's happening is because it's not shared, everybody has to do the same thing. And a
That's
lot of
it.
money goes into just collecting the data, not coming up with analysis and innovation and
Yes.
and cure. So our goal is we
Yes.
change the system. So the difference of Harvard or Johns Hopkins or any of the institution would give drug makers 50 people data in a year. And I was able to produce over 850 people. That's the magnitude we're talking about. The magnitude of citizens coming together. We can produce at the speed that no one institutions can do. And where is the traffic going to come? To us. Right? So we changed the paradigm because it's in the power of the crowd. I mean, this is not, this is a page in a book in many other verticals that we are taking. So I feel like everything I've learned in my life, I'm putting to use here. Everything I'm like, wait, I think this could be solved this way.
Indu, can I just ask you a question? And it's only because, like, I've sat on some of these, like, advocacy groups at these drug companies, and they all kind of work the same way. And I'm sure you know this just in working with them with what little you have. But, they make these roundtables, right, where they get, experts in Alzheimer's and dementia and caregiving and whatever in a room. And then, it's a focus group setting, sort of. And I always get really frustrated because I mean, this is just my personality anyway, but like I'm always the first to say exactly what you just said. Like, why aren't you guys sharing information?
Yeah.
Why isn't Johnson and Johnson giving all of the best research that they have on Alzheimer's to SI or to Biogen or to, Eli Lilly or whatever it is? And the truth is, the reason they don't share is because the person who does finally get the cure, who develops that silver bullet, if you will, they're the ones who are going to have the windfall. So that's why they're so protective over all their information and on all their research. But it is completely at its core inefficiency at its finest
But
because it's everyone having to do the same thing over and over again.
And a
So
lot of waste
are
of money.
a ton of
so
waste of money. So are you getting each company to say like, "Hey, I'll give you this data, but like it's going to have to be
but
shared across the board?"
okay, where are they getting the data from? It's the people. Why aren't we being smarter about it? So we
Mm.
are giving them doing that and then saying, don't do it. That is not going to work, right?
There you go. There
You
you go.
take the control back, right? You take the control back and you say, okay, you know what? You can go through that system and get 50 people. I'm going to get 850 people. Guess what? Who's going to win? I'm going to be done in 2 years and you're going to be doing this for 10 years and I'm going to beat you anyway. So the only way is you have to come work with me. So
So do you
we,
only
yeah.
share your caregiver information with like specific pharma companies or are you giving it to all? Like how does it
No,
work?
we give it to all, right? I mean, of course, there are a lot of sensitive data, and we are the custodians. We make sure that anybody who comes in, any researcher who comes in, we have data use agreement and we share it with people. And this is about, and also we're changing the mind of the pharma and the FDA.
Mhm.
It's a movement. People want to associate, in the end, they're humans too. They are human beings in there. And I have to tell you, like, working with, we have 22 drug companies who work with us. I love them. I know it's weird to say that because those humans speak to me because we're able to influence them. And they come to me and they said, I was so mad at my meeting today. They talked about the patient as though they are a number. And I remember you saying, people, the humans, they can make their decisions, you know. So we have to be, we can't be finger pointing. We can't say, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not. Let's go do it and
Mm.
partner with them.
I
Show them this is how co-creation model works, right? So yesterday I had a meeting with one of the, they do awards and things like that. So he said, the difference in your model is, like you said, till now we've had checkbox. Was a patient invited? Checkbox, right? Did you hear the patient? But what do they do, Liz? Like they listen to you and it's not an insight. It's not an insight. So what I do is that we take their speech data, we take their cognitive data, we take their who they are, and we put it through AI and machine learning and create insights. And we give the insights to the drug companies about, hey, have you thought about this? These people are better match for you for your trials. These people are, so we're now producing higher level information that's actually in line with what they want,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, it's like this was a thing about healthcare is that think about like you want to create a new email. What do? You just type in Gmail, create new account. You know how many things that happen there? There was a server involved, there was a CPU involved, there is your information got stored into the database, and then the operating system gave you the information back, and then so all that happened in coordination. And about 20 years ago, you could not create that, or
Mm-mm.
30 years ago. You had to go buy a server from Dell Computers and then wait till they come. It'll take about 2 months after you order. Then you get a system admin who will actually come in and install an operating system. Then you will get a database administrator who comes in and installs a database. There's always discrepancy with versions. Okay, we can figure it out. Then you put a software on top of it. So it's an ordeal like that. But today, what we have done in the tech is it's used by everybody because we've taken away all that complexity is at the bottom. It's happening. It's like you scale it. That's what we need to do here. When pharma says, we figured out these are the things that they want. Let's give them what they want in massive amount. And that's the only way they're going to get it if they hear to the patients. We're the patient
by
organization.
I have to say, the thing that you're speaking to in me, I don't even have like 0.5% of your brain, and I surely don't understand
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes, you
technology.
do.
My brain just
Different
works.
for-
She does.
I have a
I'll tell
different
you
kind of
where
brain.
I need you guys. Like, I can
But-
come up with this solution. We need to actually tell the story to people.
Well, and so what I was
Why? Yeah.
what I was going to tell you, but that's the thing. I advocate in so many different fields. Politically, since I was in my early 20s, I really was lucky at sociology major, psychology major. I was really lucky to understand systems and institutions at a very young age and how they thrive, how they die, how they evolve, how they don't evolve, how they harm, how they grow, how they help, how they cure, right? And in every piece of advocacy, whether it's political or children's health or caregiving or Alzheimer's and dementia, right now, the thing that I am saying over and over and over again is we have forgotten our power. And that has been purposeful.
Yes, Nikki.
That has
Thank
been
you.
purposeful, right? It is a purpose-driven initiative
You know what?
to cause us to make us forget our power. But we
Correct.
are the ones
We're
with
not
the
the
power.
victims.
Exactly.
We are needed. We are needed to come up
Yeah.
with a cure. So that's
Yes.
why that's why my tagline is care to cure. You need to care about the people to come up with a cure. I tell
Yeah.
the cure people all the time, you have to connect to the care. And to the care people to say, think about the cure. Don't settle. Don't say my life is about getting a wheelchair and that's about it. No, 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 no. That is not yes, we need
It's
to
not
care
good
about
enough.
you right now. It's not good enough. I'm not going to settle for minimum. I'm not going to be, yeah, you can give me wheelchair because I need it. Where's my cure? I'm giving you my data because and also what I'm seeing in health system is they take your data for one purpose only. Oh, I'm going to come up with this biomarker. No, why don't you come up with a biomarker and then match me to the trial and then come up with a future biomarkers that's going to open the whole thing? Why can't you use the data for many places? That's because we have a grant system. So I have to write a grant. I have to write what is going to happen in the grant. And I can't do anything other than the grant. I'm like, oh my God. So the system is broken. So it's not about, so we change that, right? Like we do what it needs to happen. The same source of data will go into my research. It'll go into the care, and that goes into helping people get into clinical trials. It can do all the three. I don't have to come in and meet you and get the same thing over and over again.
Right.
So this is exactly what I saw when we were going through with Peter. And that's why things don't move, because we don't leverage. We don't leverage what we have. And we need to pull back and say, you know
right.
what? Like Nikki, what you said is what I had a haha moment. I'm not a victim. I'll never be a victim. I'll never take that. That's not my MO. And yes, I felt like a victim when I went through, and that pissed me off. And I said, I will never, ever feel that way again.
Yeah, because the thing with victimization that I tell people all the time, and I think we're living in a country of victims right now, and instead of understanding their power, and when you are in
power,
yes, when you were in victimization, you were stuck, you were paralyzed, you were giving
Can't do
away,
anything.
you were allowing somebody else to make all the decisions on your behalf and given to the wrong person. That is so dangerous. Whereas that's why we talk so much about advocacy, because the goal underneath that, I really learned how to become an advocate when I had to save the life of my child. Right? And I don't want people to wait into a life and death situation to learn that they are advocates from the moment they are young. I teach it in my children. You're not a victim. You're not a victim here. What are you good? What can you do about it? And asking them questions to get them to critically think, to get them to begin to come up with solutions so that they understand, like, bad things are going to happen. That is life.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
And
What
I
are
have
you
a
going to do
story
about it?
about that, Nikki, when you said, so I was new to the system. I had no idea what I was doing, because it's a good, in a way it's good, because I have no idea, how things were done. Only thing I know is how it should be done, how I would like it to be done. And I work with 7,000 ALS families. So, I mean, I see them, they're my friends, and I lose them. I gain new ones every year, and it is close to my heart. And I get some of the patients who write to me saying, this is my last letter I'm writing to you. And please don't ever give up what you're doing, because I will be a cheerleader on the other side. I never thought as an engineer I'll be in the seat, but because, they feel empowered, they're not victims. So when I got so some of the pharma company, drug makers said, what does FDA think about what you're doing? This is it's a very, it's new for us. As soon as patients just, talk to other patients, and that's all they do. You do research, you're helping me, you're coming up with new biomarkers, I said, I'll go wherever it needs. I mean, why is there a lane for me? And they said, what does FDA think? I'm like, FDA, this was
I hope you said, I don't care.
No, but I do need to care, Liz, because this is the equation, right? Like everybody has to know who I am, and they need to say, yes, I nod, right? I mean, like everybody here, the thing about healthcare is you can't really rebel and try to make something happen, because this is a system, like it's a very weird, because as an entrepreneur, I can say, I can go to consumers, I can sell directly to them, right? Here you can't. You need to have these bodies.
Things in place.
And so I wrote to them and said, hey, I have a round table. It's online. I would like you guys, I pay them, right? That it's my taxpayer money. So I said, I want you to come to this meeting. And they wrote back to me and said, thank you very much for you wanting this, but here is a form you can fill out. And then
we'll see you in 6 months.
Weeks. Yeah. In 6 weeks, we will tell you whether we can do it or not. I said, I don't have 6 weeks. It's next week. And I've got all these drug makers whom I've got them excited about what I'm doing, and they want to know what FDA thinks about it. If I go back to them and said, sorry, FDA could not come, how bad would that look?
Bad.
So I wrote to her back and said, thank you very much for your thing. But, I told her my story and I said, can I get 10 minutes from you? I don't have to be doing this. This is not my career. I'm choosing to do this because I think this needs to be done and you need to listen to me and give me 10 minutes. And she came on and I told her my story, what I went through, how hard it was. You know what? She had tears because she had just lost her grandmother to Alzheimer's and she was the caretaker. And I said, Nikki, like you said, I said, we're not victims. We, the people, have to say, I will do everything I can, whether you're at FDA, you're a scientist, you're a doctor, it doesn't matter. It's going to come to your house. I didn't think it's going to come to my house, but it did. It's going to come to your house. It's going to come to everybody's house. If we, the people, doesn't matter what we wear, we're all humans,
Yeah.
and let's all work together and take our combined power to change it. Guess what? She did get me an FDA person and they did show up. They did endorse. They still come to all my round tables. So I have hope. I see this. I think we have to let people know they're not victims. We all have to come together to do it in a way that can change. But again, it's a system problem because if you see only as one, you know, what do you say, one slice, you don't know what that slice is. It's a puzzle. We have to put it all together. So
Yes.
So,
that's kind
Indu,
of,
last question I want to ask you. I know we're getting short on time here, but what is it? What can we do? What is the defining pitch? Like, let's pretend you have access to every caregiver and patient that has contacted, Michael J. Fox Foundation, Caring Kind in New York, Alzheimer's Association, me, my tiny little nonprofit, I am ALS, Hilarity for
For
Charity,
charity.
Us Against Alzheimer's. Like, let's pretend you have all of these organizations on board and they're going to give you access to every person who's reached out to them, who's come to an organizational event, who's volunteered, who's given their time, who's shared resources because they had a loved one with the disease. And they say, okay, we're going to get on board. What is the pitch to the people that are going through this disease right now,
Good
whichever disease it
question.
is, if it's Alzheimer's, if it's ALS, if it's MS, Parkinson's? I understand right now you're focused on ALS and ALS, but all of these neurodegenerative diseases are connected, even Parkinson's. And so
absolutely.
what is the pitch to the patient who, because I remember, and I'm throwing myself under the bus here in not a good light, but when my mom was offered the chance to do a clinical trial, I had a 9-month-old, I had a 5-year-old in kindergarten, and I had a third grader. And I was like, no. I mean, Vanderbilt wanted us to come 3 days a week. They wanted a spinal tap of my mom. They wanted all of this stuff to happen. And I was just like, I can barely get her here to the neurologist appointments, with what I have going on in my life right now. I can't take this on. And so we said no, and we didn't do it, mostly because I think also at the time I had the idea, and I think a lot of caregivers do, especially when you're talking about these diseases that are terminal and there's no hope because there's no treatment, there's no cure. um you kind of get to this place of you're comfortable in your own self-pity, and it's not a good thing. I'm not proud of myself for being there in that moment, but I was very much, I'd accepted my fate. I was like, this is what's going to happen. What is putting my mom through this random thing going to do to really change the trajectory of this disease and our life and her life? And then obviously as she got worse and worse, and as my children got older, then of course, especially after I started the nonprofit, my attitude changed and I wanted to help. And then of course it was I wanted to share information and I wanted to do all that we could. Um, but what is your pitch to that caregiver or to that patient who's like, you know what, I'm just going to take the years I've got left. I'm going to live them. I'm going to stay on my farm. I'm going to move out to the country. I'm going to whatever, but I'm not going to get poked and prodded. And I don't want to be a part of these trials. How can we get everyone on board?
Yeah,
Really what
no,
I'm asking
it's a
for is
very, very good question. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to contribute because your mom contributing is going to help you and your kids. So it is just the truth. It's come to your family, it's come to your life, and it's your duty to follow through,
Okay.
because it is our duty to do it. We can't, as patients and citizens, stay in the sidelines, because that's when we will be victims of the system, right? So we
Correct.
have responsibility as well. And if it's in your family, I understand that people can do, hey, I can only meet once a quarter online. That's fine. Just do something.
Something.
Just not do nothing, right? And yes, the system today is flawed. You going to Vanderbilt, that's what Peter had to go to Mayo to do that. We dropped out. We can't do it. Today's ask is out of the question. Really the hardest thing. I don't even know who designs this. If you want me to do it, do you understand my issues? So we here to say, what are your issues? We will work with your issues. We will make it easy for you. So care is very, very important. We can't say, oh, there's a cure, so it's your duty to just get on with your 3 kids and get to Vanderbilt and do that. No, that's wrong. This is wrong. It's inhuman, not even wrong. It's unethical and inhuman to even say that that's what we need to do when we're going through this disease. So we need to stop being inhuman and unethical about asking people to do things which is not possible, and giving a guilt trip of, don't you care about your mom, right? So like you said, you're not proud, but you did what you had to do, Liz. I mean, you have to take care. I mean, so I really think we need to lose all that emotion, lose all that victimhood, and really say, what is the least we can do? And our system is that. Our platform is, what can you do? We will meet you where you are. Not ask you to do something
More.
astronomical, because that is wrong. I mean, it's what the system asks today is wrong. They ask you all those things because they don't share with anybody else. Again, the whole thing that's happening. But if you do it in a streamlined way and in a transparent way, so Liz, if your mom was here, I would say, please come in and sign up with EverythingAD.org. We meet once a quarter for 30 minutes with you and your caregiver. I mean, with both of you. And we'll ask you questions about how you're doing. And maybe we'll decide that, we'll go through and say, you might do a blood test. For blood test, I will send somebody to your house to take a blood test. You don't have to go anywhere.
It's
And
genius.
then guess what? You have a portal. You see everything. You see how your mom is doing,
Genius.
and you will know the blood test. And we will be able to say, we have an AI that matches all the clinical trials for your mom based on what's happening. And after I talked to you, you said, will you comp for the travel? And I did actually reach out to the, community with all the drug makers. Have you guys thought about this? This seems like it's a big issue. They're like, really? Sometimes we do it. No, it needs to be a must. It's so we have the voice. We need to tell people, like I said, it's, what, it's in the year, like, you tell in 1 year and then somebody else tells in another year and something else you hear. That is what is happening right now. In the end, who cares? Drug companies do care that they can get most people into the trial as fast as we can. Because if we can match as fast as we can do this in half the money than we're
Half the
spending.
time.
And half the time. And so
We're-
that means your throughput, right? That is alone has increased that you can get, if you are doing 2 drug trials, now you can do 4 drug trials. So we've just improved just by us coming together, not even done other things. So we are now trying to come up with measurements. So the measurements is going to be 1-minute measurements as opposed to that 20, 30-minute exam. That's my PhD thesis, by the way. I'm still on the way doing it. So if I do that, then I can get million people to take that, and I will know where they are and who has to match to which trial immediately, right? So the goal is to make it as easy as possible for the people. Care is very, very, very important. So we're not saying that people have to do anything outside their comfort zone. I know that is the old book. It's an old page. All I say is, don't judge me by the old page. Give me a chance for a new page.
I love that. I love that. I think we need a t-shirt brand. We need sweatshirts, ball caps. Like it needs to say something like care for cure. And then on the back, like it's your duty.
Yeah,
I love that. It's your
yeah,
duty. And it is. It
it is.
is. And
If
that's,
we are in the sidelines, you can expect somebody
yep.
to not treat you like a sideline.
And we've
We
got to
also
convince the younger generation of people because I do
Exactly.
think they
We need
really
to care
care.
this.
They
We can't
mm,
care.
let this happen to our children.
That's right.
I
yes.
mean, we will be letting our children down and their generation
Yes.
down if we don't. We're in the era right now. We have a lot of tools to fix this. And you know what? We will be bringing these researchers from these drug companies to talk directly to the patients. That's what we do. We will have these researchers and you can ask this question, hey, why this is what is happening. That's what we've done in ALS. They call it a happy hour, when the researchers come in and speak. So that's exactly what it is, Liz. I mean, like, if somebody says, hey, I want to know, why are we doing all this? Fine. We'll tell them. And if we don't, we'll bring the researcher in. I mean, the whole thing is to collapse and make this transparent system,
Mm,
collapse these walls, collapse this, I don't know what's happening. I think that's what creates a lot of anxiety, Nikki,
it
like you said.
is.
It's
It
it's the
is.
not knowing who is the decision maker. I remember when Peter was like, my husband, Peter Cohen, that's his name. He was doing a speech, he had to record some speech. It's a speech study. And I walked in and he said, oh man, I was just recording for this research and now I have to start all over again. And it's a 30-minute recording. I said, okay, so how's your speech doing? He said, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? Oh, they don't tell me. I said, what do you mean you don't? They don't tell you. Then I called up the researcher, and I said, hey, how's the speech going? Oh, we don't analyze it. What do you mean you don't analyze it? Oh, we just store it and one day we'll analyze it. I'm like, how
Mm.
dare you? How dare you taking our time away that I can't talk to him for 30 minutes? And do you understand what you're doing to us? And we don't even get that data back? Screw that. I told Peter, I love them, but I'm not going to do anything. You are not going to waste our time
Mm,
on this until people change, right? These are the pains that I carry. And so when we ask somebody to do this, you treat that with the highest regard because they took that time
yes.
that they could be doing something else. And this is the hardest thing, right? Like you said. And also people think patients are some aliens or something. Everybody is a patient. We're all patients, right?
Yeah.
One day we'll be patients, like, of some form of some things. So it's not like, patients, what do patients go through? It's what you're going to go through when you're there too, It's
Yeah.
not a mystery here, but nobody wants to say, I'm going to give you, I take something from you, but I'll never tell you what it is and what it's going to be used for and when it's going to be used. That's
Correct.
what I think creates a lot of the distrust in people.
Well, and
Indu,
you,
this is
oh,
just amazing. Like honestly, I'm literally my child's going to be standing on the sidewalk at school without his mother because I've let this go longer because I just
I was just gonna
loved
say,
talking to you.
Indu, we also will
Gosh, can we
need.
have you back?
We're gonna
Of
need you to
course.
come back and
I love
talk
you
to you
guys.
because I
Thank you.
have about 20 other
I have
questions.
so many
Thank you,
questions.
thank you for your time today. If we need 100 of you, we need 1,000 of you, we
1,000
need
of you.
5,000 of you out there in the world that are rethinking the systems and how they've let us down
And let's
and how we
inspire them, Nikki.
and
Let's
inspire them.
inspire
Yeah,
them. Because
inspire
it's
them.
all about inspiring
Yeah.
people. This story, when they go out, people will be like, oh, I had this idea too. Let me go do it.
That's
And people
it.
contact me
If you
all
can
the time.
inspire minds to do good,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about,
When I
right?
was a
Like that's
female
it.
entrepreneur in my, early 2000, a lot of people, we didn't have a lot of tech CEOs at that point who were females. And people would come and go, how did you do it? Is your child okay? I'm like, yeah. I started when I was pregnant, I got pregnant. I was, it was in my way. And I said, oh, let me start it and see what happens. And it's okay. He's fine. He's actually sane and educated. And I think he's productive. But I think I inspired few people who come and tell me I inspired. I think, so these stories really tell people about you can do it too. If I can do
Amazing.
it, you can do it too.
On that note, thank you, Indu.
thank
Indu,
you.
thank you
so
so,
much.
so, so much. We appreciate all that you're doing, and we especially appreciate the time that you gave us today and can't wait to talk to you again.
Yes. Thank you
And
so
I'll
much.
be in touch. I'll be in touch from the nonprofit side because I know
Yes.
there's a lot of ways I can help.
Thank you.
So you will be hearing from me very soon.
Absolutely. It'll be
Thank you.
my thrill to do that. And, without you guys, I can't do it. Everybody has got skills. Everybody's got the thing. Really, I need you guys to execute, to help me get this to
Well,
where
you
we
got
want.
us.
We can do that. We can do that.
It's a
Thankfully, our
collective
tiny little model, nobody believes in it, but that's okay. It works. And we have a lot of caregivers who really, who care about Mind What Matters and who care about our cause. And I know they'll be
You know what,
willing to help.
Liz? It's called building a new system, and that's what we're doing. So there you go.
That's right. That's
Thank
right.
you, Indu.
Thank
Love
you.
you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone,
Thank you.
for listening.